I want to tell the story of the 5 hour workday at Blue Street Capital from my vantage point. The story's been told many times by our founder, Dave Rhodes, management. They have a kind of business perspective, but the benefits of the company have been really remarkable by implementing the 5 hour workday. But even what is even more remarkable and really exciting is how it's impacted the employees, how it's impacted myself. I'm coming up on a personal milestone of 600 days of free time off, cumulative free time off. The way that I came up with that number is we're coming up on 7 years this summer on the 5 hour workday. And I've been working so over 6.5 years, 5 hour workdays. That's 15 hours per week freed up compared to a 40-hour work week. 15 hours. That accumulates to 720 hours per year. And if you add up all that time, it comes out to 4,800 hours of freed up time is what I've accumulated since I've been working on a 5 hour workday here at Blue Street. If I divide that by a typical 8 hour workday, that gives me 600 days. 600 8 hour workdays stacked on top of each other I've accumulated in free time off. So I'm pretty fired up about that. It's a huge milestone. It's a big deal we're accomplishing 7 years on this. So I want to briefly tell the story of the 5 hour workday from my perspective, how it came about. Why did we even try the 5 hour workday? And why did we keep it? Why do we still work 5 hour workdays nearly 7 years later? So I was working at our old office in Huntington Beach, California, in the summer of 2016. We had just completed two pretty slow quarters in a row. We had just completed the quarter, so it would be the beginning of July. The beginning of Q3, we were called into an all-hands meeting in the afternoon. So it's like middle of the afternoon. Everyone's pretty much checked out for the day. They're done with their most important work. And again, we're working an 8 hour workday just like any other company. We're just in the office doing busy work. They called all hands meeting, and Dave Rhodes, our founder and CEO at the time, as well as Nick Whittemore, our president, are standing at the front of the conference room to let everyone know that everyone has to be here. We need to make a company-wide announcement, which is a little concerning, especially when Dave starts off the meeting by saying, at the end of this meeting, everyone can go home for the day. That's not good. And then he said, let me explain what we're going to do. We are going to trial a 5 hour workday over the next 3 months. It's going to be a 3-month experiment where we're asking you to try to do all the work that you're doing right now in an 8 hour day in 5 hours. So we're not even going to take a lunch break. We want you to come in at 8, buttoned up, focused, with a plan for the day, head down. Let's just give this a try. Let's see if we can figure out how to do our work in 5 hours, and then at 1 o'clock, everyone can take a late lunch and have the rest of the afternoon to go surfing. It's Huntington Beach in the summertime. Everybody wanted to be at the beach anyway. So we had mixed results as far as some employees just were not able to change their behavior. And the biggest takeaway from the reason I'm even telling this story is changing the number of hours we were required to work to be in the office changed behavior. So the positive results were from the people that changed their behavior. Overall, our KPIs that we were tracking, that we were kind of using as our benchmark, such as outbound calls, customer service tickets, orders, they increased. They increased by about 24%. Our revenue increased over that 3-month period by about 18%. And we kept the trial because productivity seemed to be up. we weren't sure how long we'd be able to keep that. So we just kind of said, as long as productivity continues to be up, we're just going to keep doing this. And it eventually kind of flattened out to where it was about the same. But the fact that we're working 5-hour work days and our productivity is roughly the same, for me, it has always been a little bit better because it changes your behavior. We had to figure out how to work differently. So in the last 6.5 years of working a 5-hour workday, I have found that Parkinson's law to be true. And Parkinson's law states that tasks fill the time allotted for their completion. So if you have, let's say, 5 credit write-ups for the day, it would normally take you 8 hours to complete that. If you shrink it to 5, you still figure out how to do the same amount of work. And I would argue that the amount of work and the quality of the work is actually a little bit better because it forces you to change your behavior. You start to implement things like time blocking, deep work time blocking. You start to prioritize more diligently. We started to eliminate longer meetings and eliminate any possible distractions. So everyone is head down for 5 hours, and then we get 15 hours a week of free time as a gift back, which I stated at the beginning of this video how long that accumulates to. It's crazy. So Parkinson's law has proven to be true, at least with our company. Just like the words on this card are condensed to fit this card, our tasks have been condensed to fit 5 hours. Now, there's always busy times of the year, truly urgent customer service issues or time constraints that would spill over into what I would call, urgent or busy work. And sometimes that spills over into no more than another half hour to an hour. So at worst, we're working 6 hours a day. That is still 60 days per year of cumulative free time off. So you're either getting 3 or 2 months of free time that you can now dedicate to whatever you want, whatever's important to you. So what I've done and what a lot of the best success stories at our company and other shorter work weeks companies, by the way. So the 4-day work week is probably the most popular around the world. Hundreds, just in the last few years, have fully adopted the 4-day work week or some other version such as the 5 or 6 hour workday. It's a lot of free time. It accumulates. What would you do if you had 3 months of cumulative free time off per year that you could now dedicate to your most important relationships? What would those relationships look like at the end of that year? And you had that amount of time to dedicate to your health. What would your health look like compared to what it is right now? What would it look like if you applied more time towards your hobbies and towards writing or reading or learning, taking courses, getting additional certifications, perfecting your trade? What would you look like in a year with that kind of free time off to dedicate to those things that you want to do that a lot of people don't pursue or don't pursue as aggressively because they are too busy at work? What kind of person would you be in a year, 2, 3? And for me, the reason I'm telling this story is because it's coming up on 7 years and I've done these things. I've applied enormous amounts of free time, given that back to my family and given that back to my health. My behaviors have changed at work, radically improved my productivity, but it's completely changed my behavior outside of work as well. I'm a healthier person. I'm more intentional with my family, learning. I'm reading way more than I used to. I'm learning more and I'm growing at a faster rate, professionally and personally. So I hope this story was encouraging to you and has maybe sparked some ideas, questions, and most people do want to know how, paradoxically, we're more productive. And at the end of the day, it comes down to behavior change. The 5-hour workday forced us to change our behavior, and the results have been remarkable.